Jasmine and I are going to talk about where emotions come from.
A biological viewpoint believes that modern emotions are the product of evolution.
Originally, they served to aid in the survival of our ancestors.
These emotions were innate, meaning they were inborn and natural.
When our ancestors were in danger, primal emotions, such as fear, triggered a physiological response that aided in survival.
For example, when being chased by a predator, the fear they felt spiked their adrenaline, certain muscles tightened, and the fight or flight response kicked in.
Traits like these made our ancestors more fit to survive in their environment.
This allowed them to survive and reproduce. These traits were then passed on to future generations.
Emotions that did not contribute to survival died off.
This concept is called survival of the fittest.
It is important to note that this theory is just a theory.
Every theory has its strengths and weaknesses.
One strength to this approach is that it just makes sense.
There are some emotions with other species, so emotions being evolutionary and from a common ancestor makes sense.
This theory also seems to support the idea that there are basic emotions that all humans have. They're primitive ones needed for survival.
Other emotions, such as social ones like guilt, most likely were not present as far back in time.
A weakness of this theory, however, is that it is an untestable narrative.
Despite this weakness, it is still widely believed that emotions serve as serviceable habits, like what Darwin proposed.
Even today, many argue that emotions still serve as a useful function.
Crying, for example, acts as a release after one experiences anxiety or distress.
Of tears have been found to contain the pheromone ESP1, which may serve to signal one's need to be comforted.
Another example is awkwardness, which can warn us to rethink the way in which we are behaving in a particular social environment.
Awkwardness also lets us learn from our mistakes and reminds us of social expectations.
So now we know the theories behind what emotions are and why our bodies change in response. Wait, how do our bodies change in response?